everybody? Staying rock steady. We're here at Cleghorn Road off the Interstate 15. I am at the beginning of the trail. I'm going to go ahead and air down these tires. I'm going to hit the fire road and hopefully we can find a little bit of snow up top and try to get some pictures for Instagram, and also flex these new Eibach springs a bit and see if they hold up. When I air down my tires, I typically bring it down to about 18 psi. When I go to places where I need a lot more traction, I'll go down to 15, but usually 18 is my sweet spot. So the reason you want to consider airing down your tires before you hit the trail, even if they're easier soft roading trails, is it does provide for added comfort for the road. When you have the tires at full inflation, you'll feel a lot more of the road, especially in a place where it's like a trail where you're not even on a road. The softer tires act as a second shock absorber and pick up all the bumps so that it's not being translated into vibration in the actual cab. And obviously, one of the most important reasons to air down your tires is for the traction. By airing down the tires, you create a larger tire footprint, so to speak. The tread of the tires have a lot more ground contact. Alright, now that all four tires are aired down, we'll go ahead and start the trail. But before we do that, check out that background. I believe that end of the 15 is towards Mammoth Mountain, so look at that white snow up there. So I just found a cool little spot. I'm going to get off right here, took a couple pictures. Hopefully the dash cam is doing a good job of picking up some of these views, but as you can see, these mountains are just powdered. I've seen a couple hints of snow on the trail here. Most of it's melted, just little patches, but it makes me hopeful that we'll see a little bit more at the top of the peak. So let me go ahead and get these shots and then we'll check back in with you in a second. up at, I think this is pretty much the peak of the place. Last time I went to Cleghorn, I remember the spot being one of the highest points, and then it pretty much goes down back to the highway from here. But as you can see, there's still quite a little bit of snow up here. It's mostly sludge and mud. You can see my feet. Or the wrong shoes today, just making mud tracks. Overall, it's been a good time. Stopped here on this little hill so I can take a couple shots. These ones I think are sick, so I'll put those on the screen right now so that you can see what it looked like. I'm pretty stoked with how those came out. So you can see the rig, which was once fully detailed, is now covered in mud. Overall, I drove it pretty slow and safe, pretty much put it on grandma mode, mainly because I didn't want to get too much mud on the car right now. I do have plans to go out to Big Bear or somewhere where it's definitely a lot more snow, like a snow resort, in the next few days, and I want to get a couple more shots while I'm up there. But overall, I mean, welcome to the top of Cleghorn. Do a quick 360. Now we are headed to the last part of the trail, pretty much from here. I believe it's downhill to the 138, California Highway 138, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll be back on the road. So far, been super impressed with the clearance that the springs have added. It does add a little bit of bounce to the ride when you're hitting the uneven areas, but overall clearance has been good. The Rav4 has been driving like a champ in this slush mud situation that we got going on. There's been a couple water spots, puddles that we've driven through, and hasn't had any issues. This is the first time I've really driven in this type of condition. I am more acclimated to things like deserts, desert terrain, mountains and things like that, but not necessarily mountains that are covered in snow. So I'll check back in with you guys in a second, and I'll see you. And that was the trail. One of the things that I should have mentioned earlier when we were talking about airing down the tires is making sure you have a way to reinflate the tires when you're done and get back on the road, because the last thing you want to do is drive on the highway with underinflated tires. Your gas mileage is going to be terrible. Not to mention you'll probably put some unnecessary wear on your tire treads. What I use is a simple air compressor I got from Harbor Freight. This is their bigger model, the 150 PSI version. This one is like $65, and then you can use their 20 or 25% off coupon that they always have to get it at an even better deal. This one simply hooks up to the battery, positive and negative, and then it'll have this hose that you'll attach to it, and then this will be what you thread onto the valve stems and reinflate. Pro tip, if you don't know how much to reinflate your tires to, if you look on the inside of your door jamb, they have your tire specs and everything to do with your PSI. So this one says I should be at 35 PSI, and so that's what I will be reinflating to. Another great piece of gear to have if you're inflating and deflating your tires to hit trails is to have a secondary air pressure gauge. The compressor that I'm using, the Harbor Freight compressor that I'm using, has a gauge right on the hose. Only downside is that it is a thread-on system, so when you need to deflate a little bit of air and recheck the tire pressure. It's not the easiest solution with that. So having a secondary tire pressure gauge is key. It also helps to make sure that the accuracy of either gauge is within spec. Obviously, if one is reading 35 PSI and the other one is reading 25 PSI, you have an issue somewhere that you're going to have to troubleshoot. All right. Last little tip, whenever you get mud like this, especially if you live in the city like I do, it's easy to kind of ignore this and let it get dry, and once this mud has dried completely, it's a lot harder to get off than just doing a quick power wash now and then getting to a full detail later on. So what I do is I'll come to one of these self-serve car washes, and I will just use their power washer for maybe $1.50, $2, and just do a quick spray down to get all the mud off, and then that way I don't have to worry about chiseling off this dry clay off of the car later on when it's time to actually clean it up and make it look shiny again. So let me go ahead and power wash this. I appreciate you guys for following along on this drive out to Cleghorn and kind of a day trip to chase down some snow in the Rav4. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up and settling in for the night. I'll catch you guys next time.